sometimes strength is not a virtue, it's a coping mechanism. Has it meant that I have had quite a few arguments in my life? Absolutely. Absolutely. But one thing about me is I'm gonna argue. So hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you are all doing well. Today I am going to be sharing 5 of the best decisions I have ever made in my life, especially to improve my mental health, my confidence, and my future. I wanted to share these, literally I got this video idea in the middle of the night and I thought to myself, you know what? Why not make a video that kind of summarizes all the things which have helped me develop as a person. You know, in my early 20s, I'm currently 25. In my early 20s, I have made many decisions, some of which, I'm not going to say regrets because like they say, there's always something to be learned from a situation. But some situations just shouldn't have occurred, basically. But there have also been some choices that I have made which have honestly been life-changing in the best way. And I wanted to kind of share those with you so that maybe if you are thinking about wanting to change your life or wanting to pursue something, or maybe wanting to just grow as a person and develop as a person in some way, some of these could give you some direction or some pointers as to some of the things you could do to improve your life, your mental health, your confidence, and hopefully prepare you for the future you actually want. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Courtney Daniela Boating. Welcome to my channel. I hope you like my content, or at least my pretty face. I basically create content which helps women to thrive in communities and relationships. And so if you want to know more about this kind of stuff, then definitely hit the subscribe button. One thing we're gonna do around here is keep it transparent and honest. And so this video is hopefully going to be filled with nuggets of wisdom, as well as my life experiences to help you. Now, these 5 things are in no particular order, but number 1 is going to therapy. During 2020, I decided to go to therapy. I did it online, obviously it was the pandemic, and I went through Faithful Counseling, which is like a version of BetterHelp. I have both of those links down below if you would like to try them out for yourself. I had a very good experience with both of the services because later on I did use BetterHelp to find another therapist. I do think there are ways to go about finding a therapist you actually like, and one thing about both of those platforms is you can keep asking for new therapists till you find somebody you actually like. But yeah, during 2020, I decided to start therapy. I found myself crying, breaking down. I remember there was a day, I don't know if, I think work was getting a lot for me. I used to run my own company, and during the pandemic, it was really blowing up because it was an e-commerce beauty brand. And so people were at home, they couldn't go to the salons, and my hair company was kind of providing the solution for their problems. And so my company was blowing up, and what was really a blessing became one of my biggest burdens. I was struggling to sleep, I had anxiety, I was burnt out, I was tired, I was exhausted. I felt like a bit of a failure, even though my business was doing so well and we had just rebranded. And I was just like, I'm in a state of confusion. And then on top of that, I was feeling quite insecure about my capacity as an entrepreneur, but also about myself as a person. I was 23, had just turned 24, and I was just like, what am I actually doing with my life? What do I want to be when I grow up? I was at home living with my mum and my sister at the time, and I was being asked questions, what's your plans for the future? What's your plans for work? When are you going to get a real job? When are you going to move out? And it was kind of like, I don't have the answers for any of this. And it was genuinely driving me into a state of depression. And mental health issues is actually something I have struggled with for a very long time in my life. And things like anxiety, having panic attacks, having depressive episodes have been quite familiar to me as a person across my teenage years and my early 20s. And I say that without absolutely any shame, because even as a successful and high-flying woman, I think it's important for us to, convey that we are actually human beings. And the human experience is filled with so many different emotions, and more than just being a feeling, I was definitely in a state of needing help. And so I decided to go to BetterHelp, well, Faithful Counseling. I decided to get counseling/therapy, and I met one of the most amazing therapists. My first therapist, Summer, was just, I think I've spoken about her before on my channel. I absolutely loved her, but she helped me kind of start to really take care of my mental health and think of myself more than just the personal development, more than just the self-help books, more than just the immense amount of self-awareness I had as a young woman. She was really helping me to really think about my life experiences, my mind, the way I thought about certain things and felt about certain things, not only my life, not only my work, but also myself and my body and my life experiences and my parents and my siblings and everything. And I realized I was dealing with immense feelings of shame and having these expectations for myself which were completely unrealistic. And honestly, going to therapy was one of the best things that I could have done, because it taught me how to really approach my life, not just with the framework of what did I go through as a child, but also what am I presently going through and why do I think about myself and about life in certain ways. And asking myself or being asked those questions by my therapist definitely taught me to ask myself those questions now that I'm no longer in therapy. And I think therapy is something that you can do, or going to therapy is something that you should do, at different stages of your life, not necessarily as and when you feel like you need it, but even if you have a drastic season change in life, I think it's important to help yourself navigate those transitions or times of heavy stress or times even of immense celebration with the help of a professional. So whether that's marriage counseling or, behavioral therapy or going to somebody who's, a counselor of some kind, I think it's important to give yourself the emotional support that you need. And sometimes that comes not just from our friends and family and, the amazing content that we get to watch online or the books we get to read, but actually from qualified and trained professionals. I've talked about therapy in the past here on my channel, and one of the biggest things that I appreciate about therapy and psychological therapists or psychologists is that they are literally trained in the mind. And so if you feel like you are struggling in any way concerning your mind, your mental health, your way of thinking, then really and truly you need to go and see somebody whose main focus is helping you not get your mind right, but helping you develop your mind and helping you understand your mind and really dedicating themselves to helping you with that. Obviously, it's a paid service, and so they have to dedicate themselves to that in the time that you're paying them. So I think investing in therapy was definitely the best decision I could have made. Now, therapy is definitely not cheap, and I do have a discount code to the online therapy services that I've mentioned, but also I think it is worth the investment. And I think BetterHelp and Faithful Counseling is quite affordably priced, but one thing that we've done even onto my sisterhood is kind of raise money or give money to women so that they can pay for a couple months of therapy. I don't know if I have the capacity to do that right now, but maybe in the future. But honestly, if you can, start saving or putting some money aside or even reallocating some of your money towards going to therapy, then I'd high key recommend. It really did help me, especially during a time where things could have very easily just drowned me. And as somebody who has tried to end it all before, I needed it. I really needed it. And so I will always talk about my experience with therapy, especially if it can dispel a lot of the myths and kind of clear up a lot of the taboo that exists around going to therapy, especially as women who may feel like we have to have it all together, especially as Black women who feel as though we have to be strong all the time, or we are told to be strong all the time. I really want us to take care of ourselves. And sometimes that means allowing somebody else to take care of you or teach you how to take care of yourself. The next decision that I have made in my life that has made my life 10 times better is choosing to have hard conversations and setting boundaries. And I know this is probably sounding very but I think a lot of us struggle with people pleasing or wanting to please our parents or wanting to live up to the expectations that other people have of us. And one thing about me is I am a firm believer of saying no. And this is why I always encourage women to get to know themselves, get to know their desires, and get to know what they actually want out of life, right? Because so many people will project onto you what it is that you should want. I was recently on the Magnify Collective podcast. If you do not know what Magnify is, it is a publication, a magazine, as well as a community for women of faith to help them kind of blend that lovely space, that beautiful space of faith and fashion, as well as just womanhood and sisterhood to a degree as well. And I was on their podcast, I think I was one of their first guests, and they asked me to talk about not waiting for your confidence to catch up with your calling, which was a quote which I put, It's something I said, it's a quote from me. It's something I said in an Instagram caption a couple months ago. And I was talking about how so many of us are not confident in our calling because we are not acquainted with our desires. We do not give ourselves the privilege of being introspective and having a journey of self-discovery, which allows us to ask ourselves, what do I actually want? And one thing I have experienced in my life is constantly being told I'm a rebel or that I'm difficult because I don't want to do things which I don't want to do. And that is a huge privilege to have, especially in a world which is constantly telling you what you should want, what you should have, what you should achieve, and who you should be. And I've decided for myself as a person to have boundaries around the conversations that I have with certain people, but also have a boundary that says you cannot cross over this line of or into authority in my life to try and dictate who I should be. And sometimes that has ruffled some people's feathers, and that's why I said it's important for me to have hard conversations. And sometimes it means making very hard decisions of telling people I'm going to live my life my way. Now, that doesn't mean I don't heed to wisdom or that I don't heed to advice or that I live my life completely carefree and just about satisfying my own desires. That is definitely not what I mean. However, it means that I have cultivated relationships in my life with people that I trust, who I believe have wisdom and love for me, who can give me insight into their life experiences and their knowledge about the world, about finance, about careers, about partners, relationships, children, all of the things that make up the life experience that we're expected to have as human beings. And I give them the opportunity to inform me. I give them the opportunity to advise me, but I do not give anybody the opportunity to dictate to me what it is that I should do and who I should be. And I think as young women, it's very easy to, and especially as somebody who's like a part of the West African diaspora, it's very easy to live your life pleasing your parents, trying to satisfy the male gaze, trying to aspire towards having things which give you social status, which you may not necessarily want for yourself, whether that's being a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer, or, you know, getting married by a certain age. And it's not that these things shouldn't be desired. If you desire that for yourself, then go ahead with your bad self, sis. Go and pursue the life that you actually want. But my original question is that what you actually want? And so allowing myself to become acquainted with my desires and having boundaries around how I allow people to inform my desires and having the hard conversations that tells people, no, you cannot have this say in my life. No, I will not just obey your instructions on a whim. No, I will not allow you to dictate to me who I should be. No, I do not want to do that, has been so liberating. Has it meant that I have had quite a few arguments in my life? Absolutely. Absolutely. But one thing about me is I'm an argue. So it's actually been really liberating to have that. And finding the confidence to have that voice is definitely a journey in itself. And I can talk more about it in other videos, but I do think it's important to have as young women and to learn, especially in your 20s and going into your 30s, because we're becoming grown. My name is the one on those letters that they send to collect the bills. I do not have time. I do not have the energy or the capacity to allow people who do not pay for my bills, pay for my living expenses, to dictate to me who I should be and what I should do. But at the same time, at the same time, like I said, it's good to have community around you who you trust, who can help you. But remember that you are the leader of your own life. And I choose to lay down my leadership and my staff at the feet of Jesus a lot of times. But apart from me giving Jesus the wheel, I'ma hold the wheel. I'ma hold the wheel with him, if that makes sense. Talking about community, of course I had to talk about community. My third thing is asking for help. Choosing to lay down the strong woman backpack and choosing to say, you know what, I actually need help. I need help when it comes to navigating life. I need help to build things, whether it be companies or bookshelves. I need help because I'm not going to come and die to prove that I am this super strong person, because sometimes strength is not a virtue, it's a coping mechanism. And for me, having to allow myself to ask for help has really opened up the door to me experiencing true love and true community and true support and friendship, especially in my life. I feel like when you feel as though you can't ask for help, life becomes extremely lonely. And the feeling of loneliness is something that I have battled a lot in my life. I'm going to be 100% honest, which is why constantly on the To My Sisters podcast or in my life in general, I'm saying life is not meant to be done alone, right? No matter what stage of life you're in, friendship, community, a sense of belonging and a sense of support is so important to us as people. It literally helps keep us sane. And that's why I want us as women to experience healthy and happy, not just relationships, but communities, right? Relationships which build networks and that don't exist in, their own bubbles, but actually we are connected people connecting with people and hoping that those connections not just elevate us but also sustain us and bring us joy and grounding in times of turbulence and strife. And for me personally, I have definitely found that asking people for help, I run a company with my best friend. I live with my best friend. I have so many friends and family around me who I have helped, yes, and I have allowed to help me in so many different ways so that my life can be what it is. I remember in the video that I uploaded last week when I was talking about the fact that I am not a self-made, I was announcing the book publication and the fact that I'm now a published author and, building this digital community of To My Sisters is growing and, deciding to pursue content creation full time. I mentioned that I'm not a self-made woman. And for me, not being self-made has taken up so much burden off of my shoulders to be perfect. Trying to be perfect is actually such a burden, and trying to do things on your own is an even bigger burden. My mind goes to the fact that we are to be equally yoked with people, and that's not just because we should be at the same level as people, but because a yoke is literally something that they put on the shoulders of two animals. I can't remember if it's donkeys or what, but they put two animals in these yokes so that they can pull the cart or pull the load together. And in my head, I think about the fact that not only are we called to be equally yoked, we are called to be yoked in general, which means that we are to do life or pull the load with somebody else or with other people. And I think it's important for us to remember that literally pulling the load of life by yourself is really, really hard. And so allowing yourself to actually have community. And when I say allowing yourself, I really do mean allowing yourself, because I think so many of us stop ourselves from asking for help because we think I'm going to be a burden. I'm going to, I'm not worth people's time like that. I don't want to come across as weak. Baby girl, you need help. And your life would be so much better if you asked for it. And also, you should be surrounded with people who want to offer it to you. And actually asking for help is a great way to give people an opportunity to show up for you. And if people don't show up for you, how are you going to feel loved, So really and truly asking for help is giving yourself the opportunity to feel love. And that doesn't mean you have to, go to the complete other extreme of being needy and never knowing how to do anything yourself. But sometimes you need to ask people to teach you how to fish before you know how to do it for yourself. The next one is a little bit less deep and more exterior, but definitely has helped me as a person. As you guys can see, I'm a beautiful plus size babe. I'm gorgeous, right? But one of the things that I have done in my life has been choosing to actually dress the body I have and not waiting for the body I wish I had or my goal body before I start enjoying myself as a person. Because I am a beautiful woman and it's taken me a long time to come to that conclusion or to decide that I believe that to be true. I think growing up and kind of hearing, seeing what the beauty standard is, magazines, billboards, advertisements, and then social media bringing in a new wave of body type, which also was not me, has definitely made me think, this body of mine, what's going on here? Genuinely, one of the things that I used to do was wear really oversized clothes or, refuse to buy myself really nice things because I'm thinking, I have a goal weight or a goal size that I want to achieve before I buy these clothes or before I dress nice and things like that. But really and truly, this is the body I have right now. And I'm gonna dress it. And I'm gonna dress it nice. Why? Because dressing nice makes me feel good. And showing myself that I am currently in my present state, whether I'm a work in progress and working towards a particular goal or staying this way for a while, regardless, I am worth feeling good. I am worth looking good, whatever that means to me. And so investing in my wardrobe and choosing to, buy myself nice things, treat myself to nice things, even like on a more abstract perspective, not waiting till certain milestones before I allow myself to enjoy certain things, has definitely showed me a level of self-appreciation, and allowed me to really experience the world without having to be held back by something which may never come or may not come in the way that I am expecting it. And so I don't want to lose my youth, and I don't want to lose this stage of my life and me looking like this to me feeling insecure and, hedging all of my bets on a time which might not come. And don't get me wrong, if that is your way of goal setting and you're super strict and disciplined on yourself and you're going to get to that goal, then who am I to tell you otherwise? However, I do think for the majority of us, we don't really thrive under that way of thinking. And so personally, I've just decided I'm going to enjoy myself every step of the way. I'm going to appreciate myself and show myself care and love every step of the way. And I've been thriving. People may say, they don't like it, but who are the people? We don't really care anymore, because my life is my own. Well, my life is not my own. To you, I belong, and that actually brings me to my last point. My fifth and, not final because it's not in order, but my fifth decision that I've made, which has really helped my confidence, my future, and my mental health, is choosing to love Jesus, choosing to become a Christian and follow Christ and emulate Christ as my life's mission and purpose has genuinely improved my life for the better. Not just my eternal life, but my life here on earth. I think that choosing to become a Christian and have my faith has anchored me in such great times of not just sorrow, but even times where life has been going really well and it felt like I was losing myself, or it felt like I was losing sight of who I was, or, just times where I have been the most sad. It has brought me joy. When I felt lonely, it has brought me comfort. But also, if you ever I often get asked this question a lot, which is, how are you so wise at such a young age? And my mind always goes to the scripture that says, the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. And really and truly, that's why. I think I've spent a lot of time, not in my own works, but really out of my admission that I myself as a person can get things wrong. I am a fallible being. I am a work in progress. I am somebody who is at times my worst enemy. In being able to admit that and being able to surrender things to God and being like, even though I am the leader of my life, even though I am the one in the driver's seat, sometimes and most times my body will lead me wrong, right? My desires, my human desires could lead me wrong. And this isn't to say that I'm a bad person. And this isn't to say we're all bad people, we're all going to hell or whatever, and we need Jesus. That's not what it is. But it is to say that what I've noticed about the world, what I've noticed about communities is that when we abuse our power, when we choose not to love our neighbor, when we choose not to love our God, and when we choose to become the determiners or the people who determine good and evil, things tend to go wrong. And this doesn't mean that religion has always got it right either, but choosing to approach spirituality from the Christian worldview has helped me so much as a person, and it's very complex and it's also very personal to me. And you guys know I talk quite openly on my channel about my faith, but my channel is open to absolutely everybody. But I think most people who do have a faith will definitely be, I guess, evangelists of some sort of what they believe because they are so greatly attached to it, but they also know how much of an impact it has had on their life, and that is Christianity for me. And so choosing to follow Jesus has been one of the best decisions I have made in terms of growing in my confidence to do the work that I do, confidence in myself, my beauty, the fact that this life that I am leading and this life that I am living now is not all that there is, to know that there is a reason to be good to people and to know that there is hope that should be held on to has given me such assurance. And for me, securing my eternal future and not just my earthly one has been one of the best decisions that I have ever made. And so, yeah, I hope that this video was helpful. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope it gave you, like I said, some starting points or some direction to your glowing and growing journey or your personal development journey. I truly do pray for all the best for you as you choose to, you know, embark on building the life and having the life that you actually want. And I hope if you do want somebody who you can kind of do this journey with, who will show you that it's definitely not easy all the time, but at least will encourage you, then definitely subscribe to my channel. I hope to share more content like this and more vlogs and lifestyle stuff and travel stuff, just to show you me making the most out of the life that I want to have. And let me know some of the best decisions you have made for yourself down below. Like I said, this is definitely not an exhaustive list, and if you would like to hear more about maybe 5 other choices that I have made that have been good, then let me know down in the comment section down below. Like this video so that other people can see it. Follow me on other social media platforms so you can see me everywhere. I hope I can bring some joy to your feed, and I will talk to you very, very soon. As always, stay beautiful and stay blessed. Mwah.